I'm reporting now, and I'm also sitting now in the social design studio as one of the very new departments of the University of Applied Arts Vienna. The project of the social design studio are realized by changing teams. Their production is based on the very personal concerns and visions of the different team members. We are not looking for the least common denominator, but pursue to make our diversity productive. This procedure is possible because we can trust in one strong common interest. Our convinced focus is on conditions of existence. May they be our very personal ones, may they be approached by insights into new knowledge, by needs we are confronted with, respectively by claims we pose to ourselves. What brings us together is a will to make a change for the better, a reason to act, and a constant reflection about the circumstances in which we find ourselves, but which we also have to rethink, reshape, and sometimes even reinvent. Our actions are empowered by strong networks in and outside of the studio, with local as well as with international partners, with or without official funding, and along with a fearless thinking. Such claims seem limitless in their aspiration, but they speak of a strong willingness to take over responsibility and to commit ourselves. The methods are so-called artistic. Artistic here is addressing an avant-garde claim that art and life, the private and the public, must never be separated. Knowing that we are at home in a liminal world, we are not leading an existence in a parallel world, in a parallel cosmos, but we change between spaces, people, structures, not by leaving them behind, but by coping with a complex reality out and inside us. We always try to escape a definition of social design as a term, a discipline, a methodology. And this is, you could say, a self-imposed rule. And of course, it is not meant to avoid any exchange with other social design departments or the topic. It is not meant to avoid a discourse or to contribute to a discourse. For us, to establish a fixed concept would always run the risk to build up a canon of ideas, of topics and methods which could withstand, which could create actually an obstacle to the ongoing reflection of what we are doing. Of course, such an agreement is nothing else than a paradox. The applied methodology is based on thorough research. The reflection establishes a context of related projects, aims, and people. Nevertheless, the challenge to come up with new approaches, to maybe redefine expectations or commissions, comes along with the task the several projects are demanding. We need our paradox of absorbing knowledge while we resist any beaten track in order to remain unbiased. At that point of reflection, arts and sciences, or you could say arts and social sciences, do meet. But the artistic methods we need are not addressed to typical art spaces, and the scholarly expertise we bring in is evaluated in a process of participation. The projects are not developed about people, about a space, about a city, but with the people, within a space, and within a certain urban context. Any intervention under circumstances of an ongoing urban change needs a multivocal, you could say a choir, a collaborative basis if it wants to be sustainable. If anyone's rights to the public is not fully respected, then how could any measure, even being an improvement, be understood, be wanted, accepted, and finally taken care of? Already in 2017, the Social Design Studio had been curated by the Architekturzentrum Wien, the Architectural Center Vienna, had been curated to participate in our public workspace in the framework of the Vienna Biennial. The curatorial concept proposed tandem teams of locals and internationals, and in our case initiated an exchange with the collective Rotor from Brussels, which is still continuing. Students as well as teachers participated in the entire process. The network on urban mining, respectively circular economy, is still growing. Learning from students' projects, the topic is not only forming a thematical cluster of work in the studio, but could be regarded as a red thread following an intellectual and shared code of conduct that all projects at our department have to reflect or deal with the climate crisis to some extent. The pressure is rising in terms of asking for responsibility taken or missed by older generations. The reasons for business as usual provoke critical strategies to counteract, to rethink the necessity to enforce social cohesion in order to deal with climate change and to develop immediate actions which are not dependent on big budgets, but which also build on the involvement and claims of all actors. Further urban planning, further social design has to come up with ideas and take actions to make sure that a healthy city is a place for all its people. Most of the projects of the Social Design Master Program are addressing a world outside the safe walls of a university or the formalities of a gallery's white cube. The works are applying artistic strategies, but are focusing on participation with people outside the art world, are dealing with issues of public space in urban contexts. The growing alumni network of the program shows that such concerns remain crucial during the subsequent projects of former students. In a series of alumni talks, the exchange is continued, and the studio understands itself as a platform open to the reflux of content and impact by the new social designers, who share their experience and knowledge with the upcoming generations, and not to forget the teaching team. Along this understanding of a university's department as a hub of information exchange and networking, focusing on societal issues, we have opened our doors, triggering a process of deinstitutionalization. This means we can positively instrumentalize the university as a space of free thinking, of fearless dreaming, opening up to collaborations and frameworks, both formal and informal, but with a great safety net, and literally opening up to public space. As a department of the University of Applied Arts Vienna, we are asked to contribute to a society outside, to never forget that the university is a place of privileges we have to share. We are asked to position ourselves visibly by creating free spaces which could be used by everyone. The program combines introductory courses in theory and methodology with specialized projects. Many of the courses offered at the university are open to the students to meet their particular interests. Every semester, the studio invites special guests coming from the fields of art, design, urban activism, urban policy, architecture, or film. In feedback meetings, as well as in open workshops, projects are discussed and further developed. Since the whole curriculum is based on interdisciplinary work, also the programs offers a great variety of expertise, disciplines, and experience. The topics, like for example the thematization of the urban night, its political potentials, its changing regulation, and its differing notions in other cities, merge with issues like new forms of protest, as presented in a workshop about techno clubs and festival curated by Bogomir Doringer. Collective dancing as a practice of raising a political voice, of understanding city streets and places as urban courts open to critical standpoints, then again relate to a further intensified network in that case with Georgia, and had the following chapter in our last summer school. There we investigated the possibilities of placemaking in a rural area in Austria along a methodology which had been created by listening and learning from people's needs and wishes. The programmatic development of the studio is continuously documented by social media as well as by printed publications produced by students, alumni, studio guests, or the teaching staff. The projects conceptualized and realized in the social design departments at the University of Applied Arts, Vienna, follow an international orientation. But what does this mean and imply? Sure, the students have different backgrounds in terms of their previous studies, their work experience, their cultural knowledge. Their attitudes towards Vienna as the location of the studio are rather different and range from a pre-existing knowledge about the history of social housing in Vienna to the widely promoted notion of Vienna as a quiet and safe place with a high quality of life. Some are interested in local habits, traditions, or mentalities. Others prefer to socialize with other international fellow students as they share a similar nomadic life, which has been open to many directions so far, and staying in Vienna seems the least likely. This variety of perspectives is firing up a productive and also critical process of reflection in the studio, in the way that we work on and in Vienna, and at the same time develop a wider discourse, which is continuously adding up to a thick description, as Clifford Geertz put it, adding up to a thick descriptions of our surrounding and the local as well as a wider context. We interpret urban culture in such a way that we do not aim for a broad consent, but see our progress as a process of sharpening our debate on possible meanings. In this sense, we would like to discuss the notion and the necessity to share and intertwine our local and international backgrounds. Does that imply to ask for a comparison? How can we continuously invest on a critical perception on our projects? Does it mean to apply methods in order to learn and understand the particular cultural and societal system? Does it imply to continuously scrutinize an inevitably biased perception? How could everyday city life and rituals be categorized? How can one understand and identify what people might want and need, even if they do not express it verbally? How about conceptualizing a collective vision if the quick answer would be that the most preferable vision is that nothing should change, that conditions should simply remain as they are, because it can't get better? There is not one question and of course not one answer, and we are aware that understanding culture is never coming to an end and is therefore by definition incomplete and continuously opening up new uncertainties as one moves towards a deeper understanding. So if we are trying to grasp the notion of social design in Vienna, it might be different from what it means in other cities. The core question in a thick description of the context of our work is closely linked to our reflection on our roles, and our self-understanding as social designers, and as a result also on our methodology. In order to set a process in motion, we see ourselves confronted with an all too familiar, again paradoxical situation, to be initiators on one hand, and so to say to disappear in the process and to hand it over to all those acting in such dynamics on the other hand. This is why social design needs to be translated and conceptualized in all its political weight as a success by and for the people living the city and living in the city. Social design as a strategy to counteract or to add up to official policies. Social design must not be experienced as an interest coming from outside or from above, not by the responsible city administration, nor by an innovative department based at an art university. By making social design invisible, since we refrain from designing others, we are pursuing a working process based on a continuous understanding of the city as a cultural system, a never-ending story. So please stay tuned. Thanks.